to the Dysfunctional Podcast. This is my last podcast in my room before I go to college. I just thought that was so crazy. Like, next time I film this, I'm gonna be in a dorm. So hopefully my roommates don't mind me yapping. Like, I honestly don't know how this is gonna work because I don't want them to be bothered by me. And I also don't want it to be too loud so people can hear me, you know? Because that's kind of like awkward. But we'll get through it. And so next time I film an episode, it's gonna be in my new dorm room. So that's pretty crazy. Today is gonna be a really fun episode. We're gonna be talking about some of my and some of your most embarrassing moments. I feel like enough time has passed where I've gotten over these things. I don't know if I'm going to mention all the things that are on my list, but we'll see. So, first I'm just going to talk about my most embarrassing moments. So, for the first story, we're going back in time. Obviously, we're going back in time for all of these, but I think I was in second grade, and this is like the least embarrassing out of all of them, but I was in second grade and we had this little closet to put all of our backpacks in, and once the closet door shut, I learned that it locked from the outside. So I go in this closet, second grade Grace, to put my backpack away, and the closet door shuts behind me. I'm just sitting in the dark and I try to open the closet and it's not opening. And so I have to knock at the door and I'm like, not yelling, but I'm like, Mrs. So-and-so, like, I'm like knocking on the closet door, and I can't even remember who let me out or who locked me in the closet. Maybe it automatically locked. I still don't know. But if you locked me in the closet and you're listening to this, fess up. But so I was knocking at the door and somebody opens the door and lets me out, and everyone's just laughing at me, and I go back to my seat and I'm just like mortified because yeah, little Grace was just mortified that she got trapped in the closet. But yeah, that's my first story. These are in no specific order, but my second most embarrassing moment was when I can't remember how old I was, maybe like 4th grade. But there was a time when I was a theater kid. I had a theater kid era, and I went to a private school, so we had our own little plays. And these people came and like we put on a whole show in like a week. So I think maybe it was opening night of the show. I don't know. I loved being in these plays, but so opening night, I was backstage with all my little people that had like kind of like similar parts as me. And backstage, keep in mind, like, you're supposed to be quiet or whatever, so it was silent. And one of my friends like went like this and like tickled me. And when I tell you, I farted so loud, like it scared me so bad that I farted. And yeah, it was so loud, like everyone could hear it. People from all the way over on that side of backstage, I'm sure, could hear it. And this one kid, like, and we're both just like dying laughing because I was like, I cannot believe that just happened. I was like so embarrassed. And yeah, dead silent, and I farted. Yeah, so that happened, and then this one kid like jumped out, was like, who was that? And we were both just like laughing. I don't think anyone knew it was me, but it was me. So that was really embarrassing. Okay, so then my next story was when I got in trouble by a teacher for absolutely no reason. When I tell you absolutely no reason, I truly mean it. So basically, little Grace is just sitting down, minding her own business, and I don't know if the teacher thought that like someone else was talking, but they thought it was me. So the teacher goes, Grace, come here. And like kind of like you could tell she was angry. And she's like, you're gonna go in the timeout chair. So I follow her over there and I sit down. And she's like, do you know why you're here? And I'm like looking up at her and I'm just like, no. And she's like, because you were talking. And like I wasn't gonna argue with her that I was talking. But I was just thinking like, trust me, girl, it was not me. And so yeah, that happened and I got in trouble for absolutely no reason and I was really embarrassed. Like I don't even know why I was embarrassed because I didn't do anything, but I think I was just embarrassed because like attention got drawn toward me when I did not want that. So yeah. My next embarrassing moment is being a pick me girl. I went through this phase and I don't even know why I did this, but my friends will like give me crap about it to this day, which is like so valid, but I'm so embarrassed by it because I was just a little pick me girl. Maybe it was because, you know what, I can't even give myself an excuse, but I'm proud of myself that I can admit that, you know? But so yeah, I had a pick me girl era. I don't know if I want to go too in depth about that because I'm still embarrassed about it. Like, just the stuff that I said was like, think about the stereotypical, like, pick me girl things. Like, I definitely said some of those things. And so that's an embarrassing moment of mine. Oh my gosh. I think this is my most, like, top embarrassing moment ever. So I went through a hardcore One Direction phase, which I think this was like freshman year of high school. And yeah, like I was obsessed on another level, still am obsessed, but this was like crazy, like insane level. But yeah, still love them with all my heart. But so I had a One Direction alarm and this is so embarrassing. I had a One Direction alarm and I don't know how this alarm went off in the first place. Because I accidentally set one for like the wrong time. And so I'm sitting in class and the alarm was like Harry Styles and like all the boys being like, it's time to get up, you gotta get up. Yeah, you got. And they're like, this alarm was like them screaming, right? And so it's silent in class and all of a sudden that alarm just goes off in my backpack. And the teacher thinks that it's like these boys in the back that were watching a video and they're like, turn it, he's like, hey guys, like turn that off. And like for some reason I was being so dumb because the alarm is like a video of them, like One Direction, they're like doing an interview or like something, I don't know. And so I was like, oh, like maybe they're just like watching that interview or whatever. And I think that that's what I chose to believe. And obviously, the sound coming from my backpack keeps going off because it's not these boys, it's my One Direction alarm. And so then my friend Carly, who at the time we weren't friends, this was like, no, this was sophomore year. Yeah, this was sophomore year. Um, before we became friends, she's like, oh, like I think that's you. I think that's in your backpack. And I was like, oh, and I like pick up my phone and I stop it. And the teacher's like, is that your alarm? And I totally was like playing dumb. I was like, no, like not that I know of. Like, totally, like, I have no idea why that happened. But yeah, my One Direction alarm fully went off in class. So I was, that took me a while to get over, honestly. Like, yeah. Now I think it's funny, but if I were to look back, like, sophomore year, I would have been like, ugh, like it haunted me. but glad we got over it. But probably my most embarrassing moment in life. Actually, I think this was my most embarrassing moment. The One Direction alarm comes a close second though. So I think this was in like maybe 6th grade. And we had a group chat for all the girls in my class. And my cousin Natalie, she's gonna laugh when she listens to this. I don't even think her mom knows about this because I knew that she would get in trouble if her mom knew. So I never told her mom, obviously. But this was an absolutely mortifying moment for me. So Natalie's such a goof. I was going pee and she opened the door of the bathroom and took a picture of me just sitting on the toilet. And I think that not very many people know about this. I don't think I've ever like told this story really, and I don't think we've ever rehashed this. I'm probably thinking she forgot, so when she hears it, it's gonna like remind her that this happened. Natalie takes a picture of me and we're both just like laughing, and she shuts the door and I'm like yelling at her. I'm like, no. And so then after she takes the picture, she accidentally sends it to the girls group chat. And so we're both like freaking out. I'm so glad that because we at one point we had a group chat with a whole class, so I'm so glad that it was not sent to that group chat, but it was sent to the girls one. And we're both like freaking out. I'm like so mad at her. And all the girls are like, oh my god, just like shocked because they just got sent a picture of me like peeing. And my sister sees it and she's like, oh, like that's Photoshop, like for trying to like save my butt. And all of the girls, like some of them, I feel like I don't know if any of them really believed it, but she's like, oh yeah, like what app did you Photoshop it on? And my sister like sent the app and she's like, oh, like Natalie or whoever like did it on this. And she's like, oh yeah, like I've heard of that one. Like this one girl definitely did not believe it, but she was like trying to cover for me as well. And then one girl's like, that's not Photoshop. And then another person is like, guys, like just delete that, like that's really inappropriate. And so that's basically how the conversation ended. But yeah, fully got that sent to a group chat. So and I was very upset, but now I think it's hilarious, so I had to tell you. That is definitely my most embarrassing moment because I was in a vulnerable position. I think that a universal embarrassing thing is, I wouldn't say this is like my most embarrassing moment. I think that the picture takes the cake, but I feel like this is a universal thing where you just like wave at someone, but they're waving at someone else, and then you're like, ugh, that's awkward. So that's also one of the many embarrassing things that I've done. So my next one is during my Musically era, when you can still go live on TikTok, but there was this boy in my class, and I think this was in like 7th grade probably, and yeah, this was in 7th grade. And there was this boy in my class. He knows who he is. I did not like at the time very much. So I decided with my maybe like 20 Musically followers, I was gonna go on live and publicly roast him. Abby just interrupted my episode. Come here. I wanted to give you a haul. Okay, you can later. I'm talking about most embarrassing moments. Do you have one you want to share?
I don't know.
Have you ever
One time I said, I have a lot of embarrassing moments at work. Like a lot of the times it'll be like 9 in the morning. No, it'll be like 6 p.m. like, and I'm closing, but I'm used to saying like have a good morning, so I'll say have a good morning, and it's like 6 p.m. and then it's really embarrassing afterwards, and then they just laugh at me.
Yeah, I've probably definitely done that too. Okay, well, thank you for contributing. You can give me your haul later, okay? Okay. I'm talking about the time I roasted one of the boys in our class publicly on a Musically Live, and I thought that I ate. Yeah. You're.
I forgot about that until right now. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, you do. She said I have to go revel in that era. Yeah, I decide I'm gonna roast this boy, not man at the time, on my Musically Live with my 20 followers. And the stuff that I was saying, like, I thought that I ate, but I really did not. And so, yeah, I basically just roasted him on a Musically Live because I didn't like him at the time. But shout out, you know who you are. And yeah, he's had some great character development, and so have I. So, and that is all the embarrassing moments that I'll be sharing today. So now we're going to talk about some of your most embarrassing moments. Okay, so we've got a few responses. Someone says, going through an emergency exit on a cruise and setting off an alarm on the whole boat. Yeah, that's pretty bad. I feel like, no, I was going to say that could be similar to pulling the fire alarm, but I feel like it's definitely not. And I'm sorry that you had to experience that. Okay, and then the last one's like super specific. So someone says, being so exhausted that my body farted without my consent next to a group of it girls in Europe. Oh, this is so funny. We've all farted without consent at one point, and I'm also sorry that you had to experience that. Okay, so those are all the embarrassing moments I'm going to be sharing today. I think to close this episode, I just need to remind you that everyone embarrasses themselves. I embarrass myself every single day. So don't be too hard on yourself. And honestly, I think the best way to get over embarrassment is just laugh it off. So yeah, that's all. I will see you in the next one. And remember to set your alarms at the proper time, especially if they are One Direction alarms yelling at you to get up. Okay, bye!